So, it's been a long time since I filmed any sort of wrap-up. This wrap-up is going to cover all the books that I read in August and the one book that I finished in September. Not even started, just finished in September. I don't remember an awful lot about some of these books, so these reviews may be a bit patchy in places, but we'll just see how we get on. The first book I want to mention is a book that I received from the publishers via NetGalley, and that is The End of the Line by Gray Williams. I want to clarify right now, I did not finish this book. I DNF'd something. It's a rarity for me, but I went for it. I actually DNF'd it at 15%. I can't remember anything about it at all, so I'm just going to look over my review notes. So I couldn't get into this book at all. The writing style didn't work for me. It didn't hold my attention in any way. And the characters just felt really flat and impossible to care about. And I probably could have kept forcing myself through this, but I decided for my own sanity and to not put myself in a reading slump, clearly that didn't work so well, I just gave up on it on the spot pretty much and just let it all go. So I realised I've not actually told you what this book is about at all. It's supposedly a fast-paced thriller. Not the bit that I read, it wasn't. It's set on the streets of London and rife with magic. So it was this kind of undercover magic being thrown into a London setting with a thriller aspect that is really what drew me into this story, but I just felt like I got none of that. I got a little bit of London. There might have been a little bit of magic, but to be honest, it was boring me. It was just a great idea executed really poorly in my eyes. So yeah, I didn't like this one. It probably might be some people's cup of tea. It might not have been that dull, or maybe if I'd given it longer of a chance, but I'm done with giving books that I'm not enjoying a chance. It's time to read for me. So yeah, sadly I did DNF this one. From there I went on to read Lumberjanes Volume 2, which is by Noelle Stevenson, Grace Ellis, and Brooke Allen is the illustrator. And I read volume 1 of the Lumberjanes, I think it was last year, on Kindle Unlimited, and I've got Kindle Unlimited again right now, so I read the second volume on there while I could. And I actually liked this second volume a lot more, at least I think I did. If not on par, then definitely a lot more. It was just cute, it was quick to read, it was enjoyable, the friendships were cool, and it didn't feel quite as messed up as the first one. It was still kind of weird and messed up, but it didn't feel like ridiculously out there this time around. Then I read another NetGalley book, and I read Dead Guilty by Michelle Davies. And I actually gave this book 5 stars. I know, I went from like having an awful reading time to having a wonderful reading time. So this book follows a few different perspectives. So initially, a young British woman is murdered on holiday in Mallorca. The killer's never found. There are many suspects, but it all just goes a bit cold, basically. Then all these years later, the family are planning on going over there for an anniversary service. All these other perspectives start coming in. The long and the short of it is the police and the family go over to there again, and before they can even hold the service, another girl goes missing. There's lots more to it than that, but I loved this one, and I don't want to go into it any more than is necessary, because this is an excellent whodunit, and I don't want to accidentally let anything slip. I was on the edge of my seat trying to work out who the killer was in this. I was wrong several times. It felt like I was being sent on a wild goose chase, and I could tell that I was being given these kind of false leads, but at the same time I couldn't work out who I should have been picking. It was blowing my mind. This was such a good book. So after that I read Scythe by Neal Shusterman. I was expecting to love this when I picked it up. It's a YA dystopian. I do love a bit of dystopian. Some people might also class it as fantasy or sci-fi. It kind of fits into all these a little bit. And this basically follows these trainee scythes. That's all I'm going to say. It's fabulous though. I couldn't put this down. Loved it. Next, I listened to a thriller on audiobook, and that was The Family Upstairs by Lisa Jewell. Now, this is one that I'd picked up on quite a whim. I was just looking for a thriller on audiobook and went for this one. No particular reasoning why from what I can remember, and so imagine my surprise when I gave this 5 stars. All I think you should go into this one knowing is that some people find it confusing to begin with because you get multiple different perspectives and it's not necessarily completely explained who these perspectives are. The only one you know for sure is a girl called Libby, and she's about to turn 25. She's also about to come into a massive inheritance. Meanwhile, many years ago in a house, a baby was found upstairs, alive and well, clearly well looked after, with no one around that had obviously visibly been looking after it, because downstairs were some, by this point, very deceased bodies. So yeah, that's all I'm going to tell you for this one. Highly worth checking out. It's my first Lisa Jewell and I really enjoyed it. From there I was on quite the audiobook kick, so I picked up another audiobook, and that was The Flatshare by Beth O'Leary. This audiobook had 2 narrators, which were Carrie Fletcher and Kwaku Fortune. And the audiobook, can I just say, for this book was just absolutely fantastic. I also gave this book 5 stars. So this follows a woman and a man who end up sharing a flat, and indeed sharing a bed, but they're never in it at the same time. So he works shift work, she works kind of normal office hours work, and he will spend the weekends at his girlfriend's house so that they don't even have to worry about sharing the flat at weekends. Or at least that's how it's all meant to work. Love story ensues. It's a wonderful, wonderful read. Highly recommend it. And the final book I have to talk to you about today is a book that I was sent from the publishers, and that is The Girl Before You by Nicola Rayner. This book was such a mixed journey for me. I started off liking it, but getting really frustrated at how much work I was having to put into reading this, because you get multiple points of view, and trying to keep track of who everyone was at all times was the only way that I could understand what was going on. But to do that, I was continually having to flick chapter, work out who was who in relation to who. But I'm glad I put the effort in, because I gave this 4 stars. So this is about a young woman who goes missing, assumed dead, yet no one was arrested for a murder, no body was ever found, and yeah, this has still left people reeling years and years later. What happened to the girl? I loved that one. As I said, it is one you need to put so much effort into though, so if you don't like having to continually check whose perspective you are reading from because her writing wasn't quite there yet, then it may not be one for you. I do feel though that as her writing progresses, this author might be really one to keep an eye out for. I, as I said, enjoyed this quite a lot despite the effort I had to put in, and I will be keeping my eyes open for future Nicola Rayner books. That is all the books I read in August and September. I've not been reading much, but October is looking fabulous. So I did put an October TBR up the other day, which is actually looking very ambitious, but I am making steady progress. So we'll see how this all ends up playing out. But thank you so much for watching this video. Please let me know what you have read recently, whether you've got any recommendations. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe by clicking the image of me if you want to see more book reviews and other bookish content from me, and I will see you soon. Bye bye!